In the way that, like, they make a lot of shit about chocolate being bad for dogs, and it is. But grapes are, like, straight up poison for dogs. Yeah. And nobody talks about that, I feel like.
No.
You have you heard it before?
I've heard it. Just the first time I had heard it was when we were talking about it on the pod about
when
the
you
muffin.
when you gave that dog chocolate on purpose to try to kill it.
Still alive, bastard.
You're a bad assassin. That might be the title of the podcast, by the way.
A podcast hosted by two white comedians, a stereotype about the blandest ingredients that childhoods didn't prepare them for life. Sexual tension you can cut with a knife. Podcast. Two white comedians. Podcast. Two white comedians.
Check. Boom. Drop.
Testosterone. All right, we're back.
Hey,
we're podcasting.
Hey, we haven't quit yet.
I know, it's close. We're out of backlog. We're recording this 2 days before it comes out.
Ooh.
The most current, and we'll be in a bad situation next week too, I think.
What's happening next week?
We're going to be in the same situation.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Because we won't have to talk about schedules right now, but it's going to be tight.
Well, luckily you're having a kid, and that'll clear things up.
Things get really loose and easy
this
schedule-wise
podcast,
when you
got
have
like
a kid.
6 more weeks of this podcast.
Ooh, speaking of kid, I got a beep kid update. I got kicked in the head the other night.
Oh,
I had my head on the belly, and I was talking to her, and she was like, "Get the hell out of here, man." She hit me, kicked me in the head. I've never been happier in my entire life.
Like a comedy
It's
audience.
like the most excited I've ever been in my life.
That's fun. That's have you ever seen those memes that are like first kid, second kid?
Yeah.
This is you're having very first kid moments. It's like I don't even know if I felt the second kid kick, to be honest with you. Which is good. I mean, I'm happy for you, and it'll be fun to watch you go through all of it, and your preconceived notions about being a parent. Watch those get crushed also will be fun.
It's the amount, because like we had the name for our kid for years, so we've kind of like built up this personality and stuff, and it's like I know full well like we're just gonna get whoever, they're just like a brand new person, they're gonna be whoever they are. And
I was like, no screens, the only thing we'll ever show her is like documentaries, educational stuff. And then eventually you're like, well, I'm going to kill myself if this kid does not, like, let me cook food for her in peace. Or I'm going to kill her because I'm going to accidentally drop a knife or a hot pan on her or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The youngest right now is so angry when I'm cooking for her. She wants to be in the kitchen, and it's like, yeah, it's you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's a wonderful time. You're going to love it. And you're going to have moments where you're very frustrated. Yeah. And you're going to, the other thing that I will say, and you maybe, you're such a disciplined guy that you've always been so disciplined, but like you will, things that you said you will never do for that kid or allow the kid to do.
Oh, right.
You'll at some point you will like fall. And by the way, I was having this conversation with my sister. I have a buddy that's, he's from here, but he lives in Taiwan now, and him and his wife just had a kid. And they're like, you just gotta like be able to forgive yourself. That's the number one thing, I think, is because you're gonna your emotions are inherently gonna be tied to it, but you're gonna fuck up in ways that you didn't even imagine were possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the other day I yelled at our youngest, and it was so effective. Like I could see if my wife wasn't there to check me, being like, well, that just works great. Every time I can just yell and it solves the problem. It perfectly solved the problem.
She does seem like a kid that would respond well to that sort of discipline.
She was like, oh fuck yeah, whatever you say, boss.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, and she's got none of that. Like she's so rebellious. And yeah, dude, it was I could have so easily become intoxicated by that, and luckily my wife was like, please don't yell at her. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Good. It's so stupid, like so obvious, but you're like, oh yeah, I need somebody that also cares about this kid to check.
Yeah.
The other thing you'll get, by the way, is like the amount of how impossible it seems to be a single parent.
Oh, right.
Like a working, well, even like you working or not working, like figuring out how to pay for childcare or to make enough money without paying for childcare with if like the mom or dad isn't in the picture and you don't have childcare readily available from family members.
Yeah.
Dude, brutal. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah, I think my mom was very fortunate to have like a good support system of like family that just kind of like took her in, and I don't know how much money she was like spending on childcare, you know what I mean? Because it was like just families that kind of adopted us, so it worked out well. But yeah, like I can't imagine trying to balance all of that.
This is why, by the way, like we're not gonna make this a political podcast, but I have some folks in my life who are conservatives and who have like pretty standard issue modern conservative views, which are things like welfare is being exploited to this massive degree and we need to reform it. And while I understand the desire for that, I'm like, I would rather have some fat lady that's got a bunch of kids like getting extra money out of the system than those kids starve or those kids like suffer or not get even like baseline opportunities that they would get if they had a reason. Like, the person you're punishing is not that lady. She's going to find another way to exploit another system. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to me, it's like, we should measure it and we should try to get any, like, fraud out of it, sure. But, like, I'm willing to live with some fraud, which I was probably less. I mean, when you're young, you're like, everybody should be accountable for themselves because you don't realize the misfortune that other people have. Maybe not you, because you had suffered some of that misfortune. But when I was 18, I was like, these pieces of shit that are out here unemployed, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then you get older and you're like, well, I have had a lot of luck in my life that's led to this moment. And, it softens you, is my point. Is like, it really turns you into a huge pussy.
I'm sure. Well, it's been, another 2 weeks. We keep...
That's right.
That was 2 in a row, 2-week gaps.
I know.
I'm forgetting what we talk about. I
tried to listen to the episode today, and then I heard my voice, and I was like, ugh, I don't like it. Yeah, so I got some notes written down. I can start us off because I actually had a note written down. I was supposed to open for my buddy Dr. Brady Smith at the Neptune Theater, which would have been the Neptune Theater. I go from never being... This is how comedy feels, right? You go from never being at a Seattle theater one time to the Neptune Theater twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Would have been so crazy, but he ended up postponing the show for later, and I'm not sure if I'll end up being on it or not. But, this is like a random... Well, let's talk about this. You're like a health guy on the fringes of the health community, I would say, where it's like you're not talking about like you're not Jillian Michaels or something like that, but you're like try to make the healthiest decision when you can. I many years ago worked with this lady who had a parrot or a parakeet, one of the two. She had a bird as a pet, is the point.
Yes.
Apparently, when you have a bird as a pet, if you cook with non-stick pans, which have apparently toxins for humans, but they have the toxins that are in them will just like kill the bird, whatever kind of bird she had. They'll just like the bird will just like I guess drop dead out of the sky. It's like really really bad for those birds. In the way that like they make a lot of shit about chocolate being bad for dogs, and it is. But grapes are like straight up poison for dogs, and nobody talks about that. I feel like.
No.
You have you heard it before?
I've heard it. Just the first time I had heard it was when we were talking about it on the pod about
when
the
you
muffin.
when you gave that dog chocolate on purpose to try to kill it.
Still alive, bastard.
You're a bad assassin. That might be the title of the podcast, by the way. So at that time, I looked into it a little bit, and to my wife, I was like, we should switch our lives over in the same way where I was like, we should wear aluminum-free deodorant. And then she's like, nah, but you stink when you don't wear aluminum deodorant. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep using aluminum-free deodorant. You do whatever you want. And then so she still does it. and I don't, and I think she still thinks I stink, but I don't wear aluminum deodorant.
Yeah.
And that's like a small change to make. I was like, we should switch from nonstick pans to like cast iron or carbon steel. And then she's like, nope, that's stupid. Hate it. I don't like cooking with anything but the nonstick. It's such a pain in the ass to wash. And I'm like, okay. And then literally she just sees a meme. And I'm like, I've been telling you this shit for 3 years, but a meme comes along or one of her friends will make a point, and it's like, it's so much more valid. So anyways, we're switching over to carbon steel now.
Good.
And you fucking smug dickhead. I hate your face.
No, this is very relatable because it's specifically with health stuff. There's like information that's out that's not yet mainstream. So for like 10 years, you're aware of it, but you have to like wait for a meme to come out.
Sure.
So that it's like,
well, and I don't even like
presentable.
I'll be honest, I mean, I cook a lot, and I don't really like the way that the nonstick pans cook anyway. They're good, like specifically, I think they make cooking eggs easier, but I would not say that they cook eggs better. They just make it easier. It's like it increases the margin of error on eggs. And then outside of that, I think they're worse for everything.
Yeah, once you figure out like stainless, it's not bad. It took me a long time to realize how low you gotta go with stainless, and the pan still gets as hot as it would like at a higher temperature on the burner with a different pan. But once I figured that out, you can get a nice non-stick situation going.
I know. And a carbon steel, by the way, you can create a nonstick layer. Like it's yes, I'm with you. It's one of the rare things we're going to agree on ever on this podcast.
Have you seen the hex-clad pans?
I have, but they say to me it's like the thing, and this is like as hippy dippy as this podcast will ever get, because they'll say like a water bottle's BPA free. But then you find out it's because it's like there's a bunch of shit in it that's maybe worse than BPA's.
Yeah,
but it's technically not a BPA. I don't even know what a BPA is. I have no idea what a BPA is. I know they say it's bad. I've heard the thing where you eat a credit card's worth of plastic of microplastics every year. I'm sure I'm shitting out credit cards left and right. I have no doubt about that. I feel like the Hexclad thing where they're like, I literally saw an ad for it today because I'm going to tell you about this carbon steel pan I bought, but I've got like a lot of pans in my algorithm now.
Yeah.
And they're like, no forever chemicals. And I'm like, I doubt it. I just have
it's got to have something, because it doesn't seem like just that texture would make it non-stick.
Sure.
I don't trust it.
It seems like it's got a coating, right?
Yeah.
It's not
it
just
appears to have some sort of coating.
like a hot oil seasoning or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, yeah,
right.
I don't,
Gordon Ramsay, write in if you see this.
I don't trust Gordon Ramsay. Let's make sure you're recording.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the moment to do it. We've already been. I was thinking about, you suggested having us on the TV. It would be difficult to do, but I used to have a device that could have done it. It's just, it makes no sense for any other part of this, and it's like adding $300 to a podcast that doesn't make any money and a bunch of work. And also, like, every time we do this podcast, I set everything up before you come over and break it all down, so that's one other thing to add to that mix. So, anyway, I buy this carbon steel pan. I do a little bit of research. You're judging something over there.
This looks like an old-timey camera.
I have a teleprompter there for my other podcast, the Poor Sports Podcast, so I can put a computer screen up and be making eye contact with my audience.
Wow. While you're reading?
Yeah. And it doesn't like block they don't see that I'm reading.
Crazy.
Or if I'm interviewing somebody, I can be making eye contact with that person, which is actually where it's more what I care about more. Anyway, that's this thing that's off camera people care about a lot. So buy this cast iron pan, not cast iron, carbon steel pan, do some research, get it in. They don't send seasoning instructions. You have to follow a QR code. I'm so sick of the goddamn QR codes. Here's what bugs me about the worst case scenario for a QR code is, because we had this for our daughter's thing for my daughter, is they send it to you in your email. that you predominantly open on your phone.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck do I do? And there's like, I got to download an app so that I can, or the other option is, so then you do the QR code and then you send the web address to your like computer. Mm-hmm. But then this particular thing, that particular QR code took you to like it's like a special QR code. It takes you to a special thing. If you send the web address, it doesn't have the information. I was so goddamn angry about this.
Yeah. People make like show posters with the ticket link on a QR code. It's like, who's scrolling through Instagram on their computer?
Oh, when they do it on Instagram, it doesn't make any sense. If you're printing those posters out, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, right.
But also, you do this actually too, which is funny. It's a very boomer thing. You will paste a link into Instagram. It doesn't show up. You can't. No one can click it.
You gotta grab it,
right? Yeah.
Grab it, copy and paste.
And it's always our podcast, so it's like 4 lines of YouTube shit. So that's a very boomer thing that you do. So, anyways, I get the instructions, but I'm trying to do this while I'm doing a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to make because for me, I've never been patient enough to really season a pan well, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna just do the oven method that they use. I'll just leave it in there. It's like 1 to 4 hours. That's a good range. I'll do other shit. I'll come back. This pan will be seasoned. This is very obvious now, but you're supposed to season it with the pan facing down, so any excess drips out instead of sits in there. So it makes this big goopy fucking layer on top, and I realize this, and I scrape it off, and I've been trying to fix it over the course of it. And I'm like, I just need to fucking. Amazon's great because you can just return anything. You're like, yeah, I fucked up, but it's yours now. It's back to you, folks. And it reminded me of, because I fucked up. I would say that, send me the instructions. If you're going to give me a QR code, have it go to a video. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I fucked it up. I still am going to return it guilt-free. Not going to feel a thing. But it reminded me of this interaction that you and I had. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast. We were going to go do a show, and I said, hey, can you drive because I have a headlight out, unless I can fix it before you get here. And then I drove to get headlights.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this.
Yep, and I picked up. Yeah, I go to AutoZone. I go to the book. I get the right headlight. I take it home, get home. Try to put it in, doesn't fit in the spot. I go back in, I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, by the way, I had already tried to, because there was an extra tab on the light. I had already tried to cut that tab off, couldn't get it to work, and I go back in, I'm like, dude, I'm in a fucking hurry. Your book said to pick this light, and it's not the right light. And he's like, well, you picked the high beam light. And I'm like, I didn't pick the goddamn high beam light. Or no, he's like, you're trying to put it in the high beam spot. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to put it in the spot. That's not the high beams. I've had this car for a long time. It's not the fucking high beams. And he's like, well, do you want me to show you? I'm like, I don't want you to show. And he's kind of starting to be a dick.
Yeah.
Because it's a very common auto parts thing. There's a big masculinity tug of war going on at any auto parts place, and I'm fucking pulling too, right? Even though I probably don't deserve to in this case, I'm pulling. I'm not gonna let this motherfucker out masculine me. So he's coming at me, and he goes, "You want me to help? Do you want to grab new ones?" I go, "I'm gonna buy all my shit at fucking O'Reilly from now on." And he fucking slams the thing into the trash can and refunds me my money, and I walk out the door, and I go to O'Reilly, and I'm pull up their goddamn book, and it's the same fucking part number, and I go to my car, and I try to put it in, same fucking problem. I'm so goddamn angry, and then I realize I was putting it in the high beam slot. And you told me,
good.
I called you and told you this whole story at that time, and you told me, you're like, you have no self-awareness, and I'm like, no, I do have self-awareness, which is why I'm calling you to tell you. People with no self-awareness, my prediction is they would, never tell anyone that story. I hate when you meet someone where every story they tell, they're the hero of the story.
Oh, right.
And the only reason I told you is because I knew how much of a dickhead. I'm not going to go to this guy. By the way, I've since been back to that AutoZone, and he doesn't recognize me, but he's a dick to everybody in there. He's not a nice guy.
What's funny is, I'm sure you've never been into RC vehicles.
No.
it is the exact same way at an RC store. If you're new, they don't give you the time of day. They'll argue with you. Like I was in RC for a while, and like I knew specifically what I wanted. And the guy's like trying to argue with me on how I'm doing. Like I'm making a thing with parts, and he's like, "No, you need this many parts," and I'm like, that's simply untrue. You don't know, but like, because he probably is like sponsored at the RC track.
Sure.
He just like wouldn't have it. I'm no longer into RC, but
thank God. It was. We would end the podcast, I think.
So much money, though.
So
many thousands of dollars.
This is the way, by the way, like I'm very into craft beer. It's all, I call it dick measuring, which I don't think I'm the one that coined that term. But there's so many things like that are like traditionally male hobbies that are, and comedy's like this too, by the way. Like you go into a green room, and it's the thing about comedy is, dude, it's so. I was in a green room the other day where it's like, dude, for me, I have given up on when I think of what the path to success was forever ago. It's like going on late night TV. I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna move to a place where the bookers are there, and I'm not in a like they have fucking 7 white guys on a year, and I'm not gonna be one of them on any one of these shows that's still doing comedy. Right? Not gonna have a Netflix special. I'm not gonna be on a sitcom. It's all gonna happen for the internet, on the internet for me if it's gonna happen. Right? Like, and that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why. But there are people that are still like part of that. And to a degree, I'm like jealous of them, and to a degree, I'm like wondering if there's gonna be a point where they're gonna go, "Oh fuck, I wasted all my time on that, and it meant nothing." Like they're gonna go through all this stuff, and they're gonna get on, like James Corden, who's not even on the air anymore, but like they're gonna get on something like that, and they're gonna be like, "This is the big moment," and then it's like 50,000 people watch it. That's the same amount that watch my special,
right? Yeah.
On, and so, but I was in a green room where it was like. Just like, oh yeah, you like that booker? I like that booker. This booker, he fucking wants this, and I was like,
I typically just leave the green room when it's so gross.
It would have been pretty conspicuous if I would have
Yeah, oh man, the amount of times I've seen that, and it's like so obvious, and then they're like really they're taking up the couch on that really like.
They're pontificating.
It's just like, you're a fucking comic.
Yeah.
It's like the most absurd profession. Like, to take it that seriously is crazy.
Yeah, and there's definitely a thing that's like, I find funny that we've talked about a lot of times in comedy where somebody will really overplay their relationship with someone else to make you think they are cool.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to say names, but I've told you the story of the guy who was like, say hi to him. He's my friend.
Yeah.
And I told that person, and they didn't know who that person was.
Right.
Not that they weren't friends. They didn't recognize face, name, any part of, like, we did a full investigation, and there was no reason to indicate that they knew the person. And that kind of shit, like, I don't know. I just like, maybe that worked. It's like can you imagine cheating in this day and age? Like my wife's phone can track my phone very easily.
Yeah.
There's no like why were you in this residential neighborhood?
Right.
Why were you at this hotel and we have a lot of trust, so it's not like we're not checking up on each other like that. But there's like if somebody were to cheat now, I've been thinking about doing this as a joke. I don't know if it's funny, but to go, I'm going to tell you how much my wife and I trust each other. She has the password to my phone, and when she opens my phone, my blood pressure doesn't change. Because the worst she's going to see is like a picture that you sent me of a shit you took, or... which is something that genuinely happened.
That's great.
Or some horrible thing that a comic has sent. And it may be offensive, but not to her sensibilities. Like, it may be objectively an offensive thing.
Yeah.
And I will have thought it was funny. But there's not going to be, like, some lady that I'm texting with inappropriately.
Right.
Like
yeah.
that.
We have each other's passwords on our phones and computers because it's like, what are we doing? Okay. So talking about comics really thinking they're big stuff. I got a story about being just nothing in comedy. I did a show.
I've always thought that about you. I don't even need to hear the story.
This was a couple weeks ago. I had a show. It was the beginning of Memorial Day weekend, Friday, start of Memorial Day weekend. When you want to have a show.
That's when everybody says.
Everybody's in town. Nobody's doing anything.
Well, we did a show on Saturday Memorial Day weekend also. So. Oh, man.
But
since this podcast, right?
Yeah,
Since
yeah. So, Cle Elum.
Yes.
Cle Elum, Washington.
My estranged father owns a very small plot of land there that you cannot access in the winter by anything but snowmobile.
What's he doing with it?
presently nothing
bodies?
because he's in rough shape, is my understanding.
No snowmobiling for him.
No more. But he would spend a lot of time drinking in the summer there. Him and his girlfriend, I think. I've never been to it before.
Like a fenced off.
Oh,
like
dude.
Claiming a spot at the beach, but it's just like
It's not at the beach, but it's not that far off. There's like a tarp and a motorhome parked there.
I just need a place to be alone.
I'm not even kidding. I believe they shit in a honey bucket.
That's fucking awesome.
I think he bought a used porta potty that he has serviced once a year, and they spend their. I don't think they do this at this point, but yes. Anyways, I'm aware of Cle Elum is the point.
So shows in Cle Elum. It was booked by people that just happened to be coming through Cle Elum on their way back from Spokane. They were like, this would be a good spot for a show.
This would be a great place for Jess Everett.
I don't know why anybody would ever think that about this place. I don't know why you would go in there and think there's going to be different people the next time we're here.
That's so funny. Are you saying the venue is set up badly for a live event?
The venue is set up fine for a live event.
Okay.
The people that frequent this establishment, it seems like they never got there. They'll never leave there. They've just always been there.
Gotcha.
These are people. There is no time in this space. They just exist in this room.
The bar didn't exist until they existed.
There is no sober. There is no drunk.
They both were kind of like they were being developed as human beings, and the bar was being built slowly from the ground up all at the same time.
Yeah.
And at some point, they became animated together.
Yes. People discovered America, didn't even notice these people were there.
They're 850 years old, both the bar and the people.
So we pull into town, and it's like, I don't know how many people are normally in Cle Elum, but there's fucking nothing. It's nobody except for this venue. There's some cars there because, like I said, these people, I don't even know why they have cars. They don't need them. They're not going anywhere else.
Interesting. I thought that Cle Elum was a holiday weekend destination.
I mean, we didn't like dick around in Cle Elum. You know what I mean?
You didn't go down to the river.
I wasn't like scoping out the place.
Is Salmon Lasac there? I had a roommate that used to always go to Salmon Lasac.
Is that I don't know. I don't know what that is. I know what salmon is. I have no context for what Salmon Lasac is.
It's a campground, apparently, in
I feel like I might
Ronald, Washington, which is how close to Cle Elum? Is it a suburb of Cle Elum? Also, I got a message from a mutual friend of ours. Yeah, it's like if you go to Cle Elum and then drive out further into the woods. Anyway, sorry to digress.
So, okay.
Scary message from a mutual friend of ours that
we'll talk about that later. I pull in. It's me. I brought the wife. She wanted to tag along, and of all the shows to bring my wife to, boy, what a night. So, it's her. We got another comic riding with us, and we show up to the venue, and we walk in. Like, we pull up to the building, And already I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good at all. I'm like, I know that this isn't going to be a good show. Mm-hmm. Go in, the bartender comes up to us and clearly has been drinking. Nice lady. At the time, she's telling us, sorry, I've lost my voice. I've been sick. And we're like, cool, very cool. And then the show started, and she seemed to have found her voice.
No.
She found it and was making up for lost time. Like, from the beginning of the show through the end, she's like, hey, did you want another drink over here? She's like, just carrying on conversations with people. She, like, zero, like, there's a show going, let's be professional here. She's like, this fucking show, I can't hear anything with this guy talking on stage. So the host goes up, does fine. Next comic goes up, does fine. She's kind of like roasting them. They love that. They've not yet gotten drunk enough. They're still able to like keep their attention,
Sure. Next
comic goes up. It's already on the decline. These people now are, because it's just drinks are flowing. It's
sure.
And they've been there all day, or possibly as long as time has existed. They've been there. So by the time the last comic before me gets off stage, it's just like, I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm supposed to do at least 45 minutes. We'll see what happens. And I get up on stage, and it was just a fight for my life for 45 minutes. So this is how well the show went. By the end of my set, I didn't end my set. People got up and grabbed the mic and just started telling jokes on their, like a lady got up.
A different mic or the mic you had?
My mic. A lady got up.
This is similar to the situation that happened to me in Kirkland, where the person walked on stage.
Yeah, but this lady comes up to me and she's like, she kind of grabs the mic. She starts singing.
You're holding the mic.
I'm holding the mic. But this lady, it's just like an old woman drunk. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to like shove her away or like, if I yank the mic away from her, I'll throw her through the wall.
Well, she's 737 years old. She's been drinking since the ancient Sumerians.
I don't even know that she has a physical form. It's just a ghost of a woman.
She's like the ghost of Christmas Present on Scrooge. Did you ever see that movie? The Bill Murray, and he's drinking fucking rum and it's pouring out of his body.
Yeah. So she comes sliding over to me. The first time she sings a song, and then she goes to the bathroom. And then I'm like...
You handed her the mic?
I didn't hand her the mic.
She sung a song into the mic?
She grabbed the mic and was like... She was doing this.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I don't know how to... All of these people presumably hate me. By the end of the show, they're like... They loved me, but it's like... What was happening during the show that you love me so much? So she comes up the first time, she sings some song, then goes to the bathroom, and then I'm like, all right, well, I got like 5 minutes left. I'm going to try to tell this last story. I get a couple lines into that story. I see her get up and like mosey her way back over to me, grabs the mic and starts telling a joke that starts out fine and then is just blatantly racist.
Great.
And she finishes that. Then her husband comes up.
Wouldn't it be great if this was my dad and his girlfriend?
So earlier in the show, I'm talking about having MS. And before I even like start joking about it, a guy's like, my mom died of MS when she was like 59 years old. And this guy's like 60 years old.
Sure.
So, and then he's like, I'm sorry. I feel like I brought the house down. And I'm like, this wasn't going to get any worse or better. Like, this show is what it is.
He apologized to you during the show?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Great,
yeah,
great.
But yelling from his seat. But then, at the end of my set, he comes back up. That's his wife that's been singing and telling racist jokes into the mic. So he gets up to like kind of grab her. I'm still like trying to wrap up my set. He hugs me and he's like, he just starts having a conversation with me. I have a mic in my hand, so I'm like responding.
You have this on video?
Yeah. I still have to like clip it all up. It's crazy. But like, so I have the mic in my hand and I'm talking.
Get this on video.
I'm talking into the mic and he's just having a conversation with me. And he's like, I'm really sorry for bringing up the MS thing. I wasn't trying to fuck up the show or anything. And I'm just like, that's fine. Like, so they can just hear me talking just in response to him. And I'm like, okay. And then like, I thought this guy was like the owner of the place. Not the owner, just another frequent flyer of this place. He gets up, tries to drag him away. Now he's talking to me. So eventually I just turned to the audience. And I was like, okay, I guess we're done here. And I set the mic down. Oh my God. It was the craziest thing. I've been to some bad shows. I've dealt with some rough sets, but nothing like this. I had a guy I think he wanted to fight me. Unfortunately, he left. Just a nightmare. Paid pretty decent though.
Well, there's those shows that it's like, it's really rare that you know that there's that saying in comedy, it's like you can be funny, sell tickets, or easy to work with, and if you're two of those three,
right,
you can work wherever. I feel like most shows are either like creatively fulfilling, pay a lot of money, a lot relative to what you and I make, not like, whatever, or there's like a lot of people there, a good audience.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like two of the three. You'll get two of the three.
Yeah.
And this sounds like you did not get two of the three.
I did not get two of the three. Yeah. I did not get two of the three. If you only get
one of the three, it's tough.
If I knew what the show was going to be, and they were like, you can have this amount of money if you want to do it, or you can give us this amount of money to not do it. Otherwise, you have to do it. I may very well have just been like, I'll take the loss. I won't have to drive to fucking Cle Elum.
Yeah.
But then you don't get the story. I got video that I'll probably never do anything with. We'll see how it clips up. Sure. But it's like, it was just a nightmare.
I did a show that you did recently.
Oh, yeah. I've not talked to you since you did that.
So I did the Comedy on the Ridge, which is a show at the Ridge restaurant and bar or something like that in Ellensburg, Washington. I love Ellensburg. My wife went to college in Ellensburg. We started dating when she was we went to college together. But she like transferred to Central Washington, and I would visit her every weekend, drive out to Ellensburg.
And then you transferred to just not going to college
I was not then. That was not the order. I had long since, or I had before we started dating, and essentially dropped out of college. But but I love Ellensburg. We got to do so much fun shit in Ellensburg, and it's also been interesting over the years to like see Ellensburg changes a ton. From like every 5-year period, a bunch of new restaurants open and old ones close, and like this great restaurant we used to go to, or we went to for like an anniversary, got like written up for how bad its health rating was, and like it's gone and whatever. This place is awesome, by the way. The restaurant itself, the guy has the craziest whiskey selection of any. In Tacoma, he'd have the best whiskey selection in Tacoma. Seattle, he'd be in the top 1% of whiskey selections, and they were doing a cool thing that I'm not sure if it's legal, but let's just say I have a couple whiskey bottles. Well, we don't need to talk about how or why or if it's legal or not, but I have a couple whiskey bottles from that trip. But I show up, and the guy who books it, his name's Hippie B.
Yeah.
Love him, by the way. Big Hippie B fan now. I really enjoyed Hippie B. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
But first thing out of his mouth is classic comedy club or comedy show producer thing. Ticket sales aren't looking good. And I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah, they've had a rough time in that room.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a draw. You did it on 4/19.
Yes.
and then Scott Lossy did it in between, and then me.
Yeah.
So 3 shows in about 40 days, whatever. I think Scott did better than either of us on tickets, I will say.
I would imagine, yeah.
Which I've since actually opened for him. He's doing great. Or I've since our last podcast. So he tells me we got like 10 or 11 sold. Later admits, by the way, it was like 6 sold. 4 of those 6 didn't show up because there was like a big windstorm in town. But he invites everybody from the restaurant, everybody from the bar. We end up getting around 20 people.
Oh, that's cool.
And 20 in a room that holds 150 is pretty demoralizing. They had a big weather event and the gay pride parade and all this. Everybody knows every reason why nobody's coming to the shows.
Were you in the smaller room or like the big kind of meeting room to the left? Were you in the room that's like shared with the restaurant and bar? Or in the
back room?
Bigger with the big round tables?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Were you not there?
We were in the smaller area because there was not a lot of people. We probably had the same amount of people, but just they put it in the smaller room that was more appropriate for that amount of people.
It was like it shared a space with the restaurant?
You could like go to the bar and stuff, right, all in that same
Gotcha,
hall.
yeah. I saw that stage, which I was wondering why we weren't using that stage. I made several comments because in that room, it's just a huge American flag behind the stage.
Yeah.
And every time you see that, I said it in the room. I was like, it looks like I'm running for office in like a like a racist small town. And I don't
a podium.
Yeah, like and I'm like, and he also has a spotlight that's like directly in front of the stage pointing up, and I'm like, the campaign's not going well. We had to make cuts. I fired the lighting guy, so now every campaign stop, it looks like I'm telling ghost stories. But but so I used to go to Ellensburg a lot, and I said like a story. I made a promo for him where I talked about all the stuff that I did in Ellensburg, and then I ended it by saying it was the first place I saw my best friend's penis, which is true. I went to a baseball camp there. And then I said, I'm probably not going to talk about any of this stuff on stage, so if you hated this, you'll be fine. And then I asked in the room, I was like, did anyone see that video? Nobody had. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to just tell you guys all these stories then. And I'm telling the story about, I went to this bar in Ellensburg many years ago. I had, my wife, I think, still went to school there. And my mom and I went out to Ellensburg to visit her, my mom lived in Spokane at the time. She might have been passing through, but we were all 3 in Ellensburg at this bar called the Tav. I was like just getting really into craft beer. I was trying to get Kelsey to like IPAs. My mom, I gotta timestamp that. I said the name. I fucked up and said it's been since I was trying to 41:50-ish. Were you timestamping your own?
No, I was just seeing what time it is.
We got time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where are you getting your oil changed?
Titusville Toyota.
All right, let's make sure. Every time we get a message from daycare, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go pick her up. 40. God, that's annoying. So we go to this place called the Tav. We drink, we eat. Try to pay our bill. It's like the college bar in Ellensburg. It's everybody goes to the Tav. It's like there are locals bars that are like students don't go to. We would go to those a lot, and they were way better. Like they're way better service, and you're like, you don't have to wait in line. You're not elbow to elbow. You're not doing the masculinity tug of war thing with with college students that I don't know or care about. Or
masculinity tug of war. That's where you're pulling on each other's dicks.
Yes, that's what I do with the AutoZone guy. That's what I said earlier. Yes. There's this guy. The bartender is this Asian dude. Way too cool. Like backwards hat and cool graphic tee, and I think an arm like sleeves of tattoos. Despite being like very young to have sleeves of tattoos. Maybe he doesn't even have. I might be putting this on him in my mind. And we finished all of our drinking, finished all of our eating. The bar is busy, so I stand in line for like, not exaggerating, 20 minutes to pay my bill. Finally get up to the front, and he goes, what can I get you? I go, I just want my bill. He goes, oh yeah, dude, that's the bill line over there. I'd been in line for 20 minutes, and I go, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, yeah, dude. And I'm like, all right. So I go stand in the bill line. That's another full 15 minutes of waiting in that line. Finally, he like was very obviously like didn't give a shit about me, and I kind of gave him a little bit of attitude, and he was like very annoyed by it, very obviously. And so I waited in that line for another 15 minutes, and I finally get my thing, and I fucking sign, or I finally get up there, give him my card. He runs my card. I'm standing there for like another. I'm not exaggerating.
The same guy helping you
both spots
from a different line.
Yeah, both places, same guy. Also, by the way, you get me out, you get new customers in these seats. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're taking up seats.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, this whole time, my mom and my wife are just sitting here waiting. This is 35 full fucking minutes before I've given him my card.
Yeah.
Or before I've, he runs my card. He must have taken my card before, but whatever. It's 35 minutes until he runs my card. And then I'm standing there for like another 8 full minutes for him to just get me the receipt. And he's walking back and forth and just like, he's just big dicking me at this point. He's just trying to prove a point. Finally, dude, I just walk behind the bar and I just walk behind and grab the receipt. Cool. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing back here? You can't be back here. And I was like, fuck you, dude. I've been waiting for 40 minutes to pay my fucking bill. And we're like screaming at each other, right?
This is a different Casey. This is
you will make me wait 40 minutes.
I've never
make me wait 40 minutes to pay a bill, and you will find this Casey. This Casey exists. This is the same guy that's yelling at the AutoZone guy. This is what I'm saying. Like, you haven't seen this Casey. Maybe fucking.
This is who your youngest daughter saw.
She saw a glimpse of me. And maybe, if you don't make any more clips, then maybe you'll see that Casey. But so he finally gives me I took it. I took my receipt. I'm signing it. I'm a tipper, dude. I tip 20% pretty much no matter what. I tipped $1 and wrote "Don't be a dick" as my tip. I'll tip 20% on bad service. Like, I'm always tipping. I still had to tip $1. My wife made fun of me for that. I still did actually tip money on it. Anyways, so I'm telling these stories about Ellensburg, and I tell that story, and I was like, it was like this Asian guy, and this guy in the audience goes, "Oh, that's my cousin." Luckily, it's not him.
I know. Yeah, I thought for sure.
I know, that would have been amazing. And I was like, I'm gonna kill that guy. And then he's like, he lives in Fife, and I'm like, well, I live in Tacoma. I grew up in Fife. Where? And he's giving me all this information.
Oh, man.
He's like, he works for this kind of company, and I'm like, I just named the company because I'm from that place, you dumbass. And so I figured it out. I mean, I'm like long over it, but I was like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna drive back tonight and kill your cousin. Isn't that funny? And then they came and bought merch. By the way, that one lady from that group, I will say, she's like, yeah, I was taking video. I'll tag you if I post it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't think that any of this video is gonna be good enough for you to.
I don't like that.
I don't like it. It's an obvious misunderstanding of what's going on in the room, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she would have posted my material, and I probably would have just if she does, I'll just be like, hey, could you take it down? Because
yeah, I've seen multiple times at shows. I've seen people in the audience clearly taking video of what I'm doing. And I'm like, what is this? Are you showing a friend or are you posting? What's going on?
My interpretation is that they are going, this relates very specifically to one of my friends. And if they're seeing me do it live, it's probably something I haven't put online anyway.
Gotcha.
So if they're just doing that, if somebody was pulling up, posting my shit online, because the quality is going to be so bad if it's just in the room, right? So I'm not really that worried about it, but they bought merch. By the way, 20 people. I sold a shitload of merch for
wow.
I always think about the amount per person.
Yeah.
And my goal is $2 per person is a pretty good rate. So if you're in a room that's got 200 people and you make $400, that's pretty good. For me, if you're Gabe Rutledge, you got to make $48 per person extra after this. You sell so much goddamn merch. But I sold it was $8 a person or something like that.
I sold. Not only did I not sell any merch in that room
in Cle Elum.
No, at the place you were just at the Ridge. Yeah, I didn't sell any merch or make eye contact with a single person from the audience as they were walking out.
Did you were selling your shirts though? Because somebody told me that they saw your shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. So I'm going to tell you this story that is now funnier. They go, they were like, you were great. Like, we've had some comedians here, let me tell you. Like, and I was like, knowing that you and Scott have been the last ones, I was like, well, Scott Losty was last month. You go to that one? They're like, oh, we loved Scott. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. And they were like, yeah, and then there was this guy before him. He had a Not a Creep shirt. So it made me assume they bought your shirt.
There was, I think, a lady that worked there that did buy his shirt.
Oh, okay. Then I think that must be who it was. Because I was like, I started a podcast with that guy, and she's like, okay, I don't really like either of you that much. Like, it was, she didn't say that, but it was like very obvious that she's like, this is not information that's valuable to me. So, anyway, yeah, it ended up being really fun. But the other thing was I didn't book a feature. I was hoping, like, I asked to book a feature, and he's like, no, I'll do it. And I was like, okay. And then the feature just didn't show up, which is this whole situation. We've talked about this many times, probably on the podcast, but many times off the podcast, which is if you could tell yourself 6 years ago. And I think about this too, by the way, with like, I talked about the inferiority complex I have with Seattle comics. Mm-hmm. But then you'll see Seattle comics leave Seattle and fall on their face because people don't understand this very specific polyamory reference that they make or something like that. And I say it in my mind to one person. There's one lady that I'm like, that just never booked me on anything and had control of a bunch of shows in Seattle for a while. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like back long before the shows that she most recently booked. Just I would be like, hey, I'm interested in doing your shows, and just would fucking completely ignore me or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want that fucking lady to come try and do this, because she can't do this.
Yeah.
She can't come to a room that's only 20 people, that's rowdy, that's talkative, that doesn't get every fucking foreign film reference or whatever you make, and make it work. Like, come be funny for these people without like I'm not to shit on anyone, but like the openers didn't murder to open the show.
Right.
Like Hippie B is very funny. That's his room. He's like doing that. So he got laughs, but it's like I know the struggle of this. Every month you feel like you have to come up with new shit.
Right. Yeah.
And then the guy that did a 10-minute guest spot, ended up being 12 minutes because I had to piss. But he did a guest spot. He did fine, but he was doing a 12-minute guest spot, not even a feature set. Mm-hmm. Feature doesn't even show up, and I gotta fucking go out. I had this happen with by the way, a guy that used to book a show with the lady that I'm not naming, and is also a source of much anger for me at different points in comedy. He didn't show up to feature for me one time, which I fucking almost certainly believe was because it was me. This is how my fucking self-esteem works. I'm like, he hates me. That's why he wouldn't feature. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is like, this dude could not, if I did that to him, he couldn't have filled 60, 70 minutes.
Oh, all right.
Of like fighting through rowdy shit or whatever. Mm. And yeah, it's those moments are like, you're like, fuck, I think I'm good. Also, by the way, Hippie B, he lit me early, but he didn't mean to. He's like certain he didn't, but I time myself very meticulously.
Yeah.
So, and I know the material, like I know how much time. Yeah. All of my new material fills about 47 minutes. So it's like, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's all if I had to dig into new jokes, I would have known that I went long.
Yeah.
But he lit me early, and in my mind, when he lights me early, I'm like, I thought I was doing good this whole time. Have I been bombing this whole time?
Right.
Like, because sometimes rooms are like acoustically weird.
Yeah.
And you're like, did it sound bad from the back when he was up there, or when the other comics were up there? But it sounds great up at the front, and this is some trick of sound, and I'm actually bombing harder than anyone. You know what I mean? And I just went like long. I did 47 minutes instead of, if I got off if it was 5 minutes after he lit me, I would have got off at 37 minutes. I just did the full time.
Gotcha.
Anyway, let me see if I have one other thing, unless you do. We got a brief window.
I just did my straight friends.
Oh, yes.
At the Emerald City Club
Yes.
that we had just been talking about on the last episode.
And I will be there July 27th for the very same show.
It is fun. Gays, great audience.
July 30th.
Great audience.
Yeah.
Fun show. They've really, like, those two together,
Richie Armani,
Richie and Joe, yeah, very funny together. They've really got the show, like, figured out, so it runs really well. Set was, like, great. Like, they get nuance in that room, which is wonderful, but like so supportive. You could like, and like they can take a joke, you can shit on them, and they're just like, you know, so much fun. And then the interview thing was fun. They did I haven't gone through the footage, but they send you tape, like they let you do whatever you want with the tape. They posted a clip from my like game thing that you play. Mm-hmm. Most views I've ever had on anything. Like every day people are still liking it because Joe's got like over 1 million Instagram followers.
1 million now?
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
one of my biggest mistakes ever in comedy, by the way, is when he first moved to Seattle, he posted a thing that was like, I need an opener that can do 20 cleanish in Vancouver. And I was like, I can, but I don't even know who this fucking guy is.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to do it. And then, like, it turns out he's this guy who, I mean, he's so nice, by the way. He's, like, such a great guy.
So nice, yeah. And on the show, like.
And also certainly not one of the comedians who's maybe going to do late night. Definitely not one of them.
No,
he was not the guy who was, I will say he was one of the comics who, was in that green room, but he was not the one who was being obnoxious.
No, he's a sweet man. On stage though, when they're doing when they're up with you, he plays like kind of a heel. Yeah. Like he's kind of like purposely shitty. And the whole time we're talking, I'm like, yeah, I don't know anybody else like that. But the whole time I'm like, this guy like hates me. He hates everything that I'm saying right now. And then after the show, he was like, I could tell like 3 times. I'm like, I think he thinks I actually don't like him. But it was it was like so much fun. So much fun. Parking up there makes me, every time I go up there, for that room specifically.
You're a yokel, dude.
I've lucked out with parking every other time, and this time made up for it. I had so many circles around the block. I do not care for the city of Seattle. Shows are fun up there.
Can I tell you
logistically
what
I
you
hate
gotta
it.
do? You're a dad. You're the fire is lit. You're making more money. If you make more than one lap, just fucking pay for parking.
Oh, I was looking for paid parking.
There's directly behind the club. There's a paid parking lot.
Right. It's full.
Okay.
I went everywhere. Full.
Right.
I wasn't trying to avoid paying for parking. I paid for parking, actually.
How much did you pay?
Ended up found a really cheap spot in front of, what is it, QFC or something a few blocks down, but there was fucking nothing.
I've done a lot of shows up there. I've never seen a lot full, but you're one day.
I showed up, it was after the show had started, and it was a
Oh,
sold-out show. So I think
gotcha.
it was
irresponsible.
Packed. It was packed. I had a haircut. They knew what was happening.
Of that club, I will say that it's like, because I kind of felt this about Portland Helium also when I did it with Gabe, less when I did it with Ronan, which is they are smart enough to get the nuance, but it's a mainstream comedy audience enough that they are not like offended at the premise.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's like, that is different from most Seattle crowds, including most Seattle club crowds. Like I think I think that the clubs in Seattle are better than the independent rooms in that regard, but they're like less ideological.
Right.
But I think that's the least ideological of all of them. And I don't know about that show in particular.
No,
maybe that show
it was. I was like kind of wondering because it's like predominantly gay crowd, and I'm like, I don't think gay people hate me. I've not done like a basically fully gay crowd.
Sure.
There's like all of the gays, so many gays. But they were fucking great. So good. It was like it was a relief because I was like, when I got there, I was like, this is gonna be fun. It's like packed house, sold out or whatever. But then as the show's like starting, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna like me. Yeah. And then they're just like, the most supportive crowd. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, June 13th, Gig Harbor Evergreen State Brewing. I'm opening for Joe List on June 12th. They just added a show. There's a late show, Thursday late show, which is very exciting. I've hosted for Joe List for years. He finally did a gig at a venue small enough that he couldn't afford to bring a feature out, so I'm featuring for him. And then June 22nd, I'm headlining Tacoma Comedy Club. I'm all over the Northwest all summer, but I'm taking it easy compared to last summer because I'd like to watch my children grow up. So check out Casey McClayton Comedy on Instagram. I'll be posting about shows.
I will be headlining Fierce County. I brought that up on the last one, but that's coming up this week, so come out for that, please. And then 27th and 28th, I'll be featuring at the 6th Ave Club for Jeremiah Watkins. I got a bunch of shit in Oregon in July, so if you're a fan in Oregon, come see me all over the place in July. Check for the posters. I'll be posting on Instagram. I'm Jess Everett on everything.
All right, bye.
Bye.